18. Chapter 18. Excuse me. Chapter 18 begins a new section. What did we learn through chapter 17? 9 through 17 in particular. The Beinoni, the intermediate individual, not a righteous, not the wicked, intermediate, who has mastery over thought, speech, and action, is always in a constant struggle and uses the mind to have dominion over the heart, to meditate, to think about the relationship that one has with God Almighty, with your purpose, appreciating knowing God in your life and as creator not just of the physical world, but creator of the whole Seder, the whole order of chain of reaction of God's creative force in the spiritual world down to this world. And the more that we have the more we're understanding, the more we create a either feeling in the heart, or if we don't have a feeling in the heart, as we explained, even if you have a what we call a understanding heart or intellectual love, understanding heart, meaning that we know that we should cleave to God, connect to God, have a fiery passion for God, and we don't, but it does bring us to an understanding heart that therefore brings us to serve Him and doing what God needs from us, fulfilling the commandments. This is what we learned till now. It's all based on the mind having an effect on the heart, whether it's a palpable feeling or not a palpable feeling of love and awe in the heart, but it is a feeling in the heart, again, a sentiment in the heart, the understanding heart, that brings us to action. And we, as we explained, the purpose of love here is a means to an end to bring us to do for God, to do the commandments, to do what He created us for. That's what we learned till now. The Alter Rebbe is going to introduce a new idea. And he begins with an additional explanation on the very phrase from Deuteronomy, the one verse that this whole 53 chapters is based on. It's many verses that we bring otherwise, but it's based on this one verse, Ki karav elecha, that this thing is very close. Karav elecha hadavar ma'ay, very close, actually. In your mouth and in your heart to do. In your heart, meaning the love and awe of God, that it brings you to action, as we just explained. So you have thought, speech, and action, and it's very close. So the Alter Rebbe says, it's close, but is it very close? Do we all have the capability of truly knowing God, that it should bring us to even just merely an understanding heart? Forget about a real love and awe of God. Is that really possible? Do we have enough awareness, enough knowledge of God as creator, that we can influence our heart, that we should have a knowing heart, an understanding heart that brings us? That's a lot of information to know, and a lot of meditation to affect the heart. What we do here in studying Tanya every day would not be sufficient. We have to really work hard. So the Alter Rebbe says we need an explanation on how is it very close. Close is one thing. Very close is another thing. This is what the Alter Rebbe says. So he introduces a new idea, that this is very close, and can even lead to palpable feelings in the heart, and it's all based on the mind. Again, that's what we learned till now. The mind has dominion over the heart. The mind influences the heart, that with its awareness of God, the truth of God, the reality of God, the greatness of God, influences the heart and leads us to fulfill what we are created for the study of Torah, doing mitzvahs, and so on. So how are we going to get there? That it can even be palpable, and it's not based on the mind influencing the heart. So the Alter Rebbe explains, because this is what we call the Ava Misuteres in Hebrew. It means it's a hidden love. Now, what does it mean, hidden love? Love is usually open, right? I love you hiddenly. What does that mean? You know, if it's an expression of love, then it should be open. It should be clear, expressive, but it's called the hidden love. And he explains that this hidden love is actually an inheritance. Inheritance from the patriarchs to every single Jew. But before we understand this, the Alter Rebbe says we need to understand a few questions. First, we need to understand what's the origin of this love. What kind of character quality is this love? In other words, we know about a love that you want to cleave to God. You want to be united in one with God. That's a love that we spoke about earlier. We also spoke about a love that you have a desire to. The passion is so great, the fire is so great of that love that you're ready to expire. Right? That love brings you to almost to expire, right? What's the nature of this love? We need to understand what constitutes it. That's the first question. Second is, what does it mean that a love became our inheritance? It's an inheritance? How do you inherit love? You know, if your parents loved something, does that mean you love that thing? No. We inherit character qualities, but what a person loves, you don't inherit from your parents. So what does it mean over here that we're getting it as an inheritance? Also, how is fear and awe incorporated in this love? How do we understand that? So, and also, what is the root source of this love? Where does it come from? The other love that we spoke about comes from the mind. The mind has the influence. So what's the root source? This we're talking about is an inheritance. What does it mean an inheritance? How could you have an inheritance? And what's the character quality of it? Is it a fiery flash of love? Is it a desire to unite? And again, how is fear and awe incorporated in this love? Those are the four questions that we have. So the Alter Rebbe begins with the concept of the inheritance and the root source of it. Says the patriarchs were a merkava. Merkava means they were literally means a chariot, a real chariot towards God. Meaning, just like a chariot has no whim of its own, it's completely nullified to its rider. Right? A chariot is the wagon is driven by the rider, has no will of its own. The rider makes it go quick, makes it go right, left, whatever it is. No will and whim of its own. Likewise, the patriarchs had no will and whim of their own. They were completely subservient to God. Completely nothing. They're a complete mirror reflection of God. Therefore, they had a privilege as a result that their descendants would have this unique Ava Misoteres, this unique hidden love that would be part of their makeup. What does that mean? It means that the most even unworthiest, Kal Shebekalim is a term, the unworthy of the unworthy of their descendants, of the Jewish people, would have a soul that would come, even if their soul was on the lowest level, Malchus of Asiya. Malchus is the lowest of the 10 divine attributes. The world of Asiya is the lowest of the four worlds. You know, the righteous come from the world of Atzilus, the highest world. And So even someone whose soul comes from the lowest point, in that lowest point of a soul, enclosed in it is Chachma of that world, which the Chachma, the divine wisdom. The divine wisdom is then the vessel for the infinite, the Ein Sof, and that's enclosed in it. This is the root source of this soul, and therefore it infuses the entirety of the person. And this is what defines us as a Jew. This is what defines a Jew. They have, no matter how distant they are, no matter how removed they are from their observance, in them, and even as they were a created soul, they might have been a very lower level soul, not a lofty soul, the lowest of the low. And indeed, even in their actions in this world was the lowest of the low. Yet, inside of them, they have the Chachma, the divine wisdom, that is the quintessential point of their soul. And the divine wisdom is Chachma, as we'll learn more about what that means exactly. The divine wisdom is the first of the 10 divine attributes. It's the first because it is got the power and the capability to house, to entertain, to be a vessel for the Ein Sof, the limitlessness of God. What does that mean exactly? I have to wait to tomorrow's class. But this is what defines the Jew. Where do we get it? God gives it to us. Why did he give it to me as a Jew? Is because I'm a descendant of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. I am a descendant of the first Jews, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and their wives. As a descendant of them, they had the merit that their children and children after them should have such a soul. Where is the root of this soul? Is Chachma. What does that mean, Chachma, divine wisdom? Well, it's a vessel for the Ein Sof. And therefore, no matter how distant a Jew may be, their soul is embodied with the Chachma that has in it the Ein Sof of God, the limitlessness of God, and that can't change. That is not able to change. By the way, ask a question: because someone asked about conversion. How does a convert get that if they are not a descendant? Excellent question, which we will give an answer to. The Alter Rebbe doesn't deal with it, but we'll give that as a understanding when we get there. Well, we get a fuller understanding of this concept. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Lou from Yardley, shalom. Lioness from Palm Beach, welcome. Manuela from Germany, good afternoon. Koki from Uganda, thank you for joining. Erica from Norway, good afternoon and hello. John is with us from North Carolina, and Sandy, good morning. Mark from Santa Rosa, Boker Tov, very early. Ben, Boker Tov. Moscow, good morning. Jenna, shalom. Vicky. Thank you, Vicky. Oh, thank you. A reminder, folks, I have started a 1-minute Tanya daily that you can get on Tanya Rabbi, at Tanya Rabbi. You can get it on Twitter, Facebook, which is actually there. It's my personal Facebook page, Rabbi Ronnie Fine. You can get it on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn, all those places. A 1-minute synopsis of everything we just learned now, so you can make sure for sure you have what to share with another. So that, yes, and I'm going to have it soon on WhatsApp. It's not on WhatsApp yet, but I'm going to have that shortly in WhatsApp. And so can have more teachings, more of a connection to Tanya. Shalom from Monica in Israel. Anna from Norway. Doran from Saskatchewan here in Canada. Thank you for joining. Elaine Boker Tov from Georgia. And Clem is with us from Brisbane. Julie from Florida. Shavua Tov. Nicole Boker Tov. Doug from Missouri. Good morning. Marjorie from Dania Beach, Florida. All right, so yeah, please on Instagram, you can follow me there. And follow, yeah, LinkedIn, Twitter, all these places. It'd be wonderful to have everybody join. On Instagram. Jolly from New Hampshire. Eli. Marlene, a piece of God made of us before we were formed. Yes. Very good. All right, folks. Sharing is caring. Please share the Alter Rebbe's teachings with others. And again, the 1 minute, look for it. It'll be up soon today. We have so far 5 different classes and more to come. Stay tuned. I'm Rabbi Ron Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich and Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you, Tanya.